Good morning and welcome to Stephen K. De Silva Ministries Facebook Live broadcast. I, as you know, have been doing these videos every Monday at 12 o'clock for several months now, I think since last October. And from time to time I have to pre-record these rather than go live because I'm wandering the countryside. Today I'm standing in Wrexham, which is in the nation of Wales, which is part of the United Kingdom. So I'm, as we would understand, to be across the pond from where I'm supposed to be normally, and I'm having a lot of fun out here. The weather is absolutely beautiful. I've been here for about 2 weeks, and it has been like Southern California every single day. Now everyone here tells me that's not normal, but I can just say from experience, it's very normal. It's beautiful. It fits me perfectly. So that's what I'm doing. But what I wanted to do was pre-record this message and play it because at the time of this broadcast, I will be standing in a conference teaching Prosperous Soul to a group of people here in Wales. And I've been to this church before, and I'm very grateful for the pastor to have me back. Nick Pengali, he's a very good friend, and I'm really excited to bring new content, this time Prosperous Home, rather than or in on top of what I did before, which was Prosperous Soul. So I'm about to be engaged, and I thought I would record this message for anyone who wants to see the broadcast today at its normal time. Well, what I'm going to do is continue my business conversation. My last video was on shifting your finances, shifting your atmospheres in finances. And so we talked about that. I was at the time in England in a city called Bradford, and I was teaching about this idea with Donna at my side, and we were doing a shifting atmospheres. Well, now she's back home, and I continue on, but I thought it would be fun to go ahead and teach more, not on the idea of shifting atmospheres, but just kind of an interesting idea I learned from a great author named Michael Gerber. Now, I believe Michael Gerber wrote several books. I've only read one of his and part of his sequel. The book I will be referring to is called E-Myth. It stands for Entrepreneurial Myth, E-Myth, and the word Revisited. Michael Gerber, E-Myth Revisited. I'll place a post on this link when you find it, and if you want to go check out that book, I would highly recommend it. Michael Gerber wrote a terrific perspective about how a business becomes stable. And he has many things in his book, but the one piece that I want to highlight today is the idea of a three-legged stool. Now, I need to apologize in advance to Mr. Gerber because I've not met him, and I've only read his book, and in fact, I read it probably 15 years ago. So I know that there are many interesting things and lots of really potent ideas in his book. But this is the one that stuck. And I find myself teaching it over and over again as I wander around and coach or interact with business people, Christians and non-Christians alike, and they ask me questions, and often I find my way back to this idea, coming from the book E-Myth Revisited, and that is the idea of a three-legged stool. The three-legged stool was not presented by Michael, but I thought that what he's saying really works for me when I think about the way a stool with 3 legs is superior to a stool with 2 or 1 or even 4. You see, with 1 leg, you have no stability. With 2 legs to a stool, you have some stability. It's much better, but you still have to constantly balance the stool. With 4 legs, you have a risk of, on the uneven levels where you put your 4-legged stool, your chair, for example, one of the legs may be short and the thing is rocking. It's just a little unstabilized, and it's a little annoying. It's kind of something that wears on you all the time. But a three-legged stool can find balance in any environment, whether the ground is uneven or if there's a dip or a stone that you're setting your stool upon. The other two legs will find, like a tripod, will find footing. They will find balance. So I love this idea of a three-legged stool. Now, according to Gerber, the three legs have names. And if a business is to be balanced or have capacity over long periods of time, let's call that success. For a business to succeed, you need all three legs. So the names of the three legs are as follows. There is the entrepreneur, there's the manager, and there is the technician. Now, I'll briefly describe or define those three legs, but again, I encourage you to read the book because it's been a long time since I've read the book and I might have swayed from the original idea. But here's what I see. For the entrepreneur, you have a visionary. The entrepreneur is the person who can look into a void and conceive of an idea. They tend to be dreamers. They tend to have bursts of attention or bursts of motivation, but it burns out quickly. They flame hot and they're excited, but they have short attention spans. So they can sprint, but they can't do the long marathon run because they get bored and they want to go to something else. Now, I think each of these three legs have a creative side. And for the entrepreneur, the creativity is expressed through imagining, through leading, and through inspiring. And I think I need to add conceiving. They conceive that this is possible. And you know, there's a legend, it's probably urban legend now, that Steve Jobs, who is clearly an entrepreneur, was able to say, we need to create something that nobody knows they need. And that was the iPhone. And I'm not really commenting about Steve Jobs. I think that is just an amazing example of an entrepreneur who is conceptual, who can conceive something into the future that may not even be there before. But their weakness is their short attention span. Now let's look at the second one, which is the manager. The manager is the long distance runner. They tend to be the achiever or the finisher, the one who works to complete a project. So they are program or project oriented. Their creative side is that they are solution minded. They are problem solvers. And so where would we be without managers? They are the ones that finish the great big idea. The entrepreneur comes and kind of throws out an idea and it splats on the wall. I wonder if splat. And then the manager goes, oh, I can make that thing happen. I can pull that idea all the way to the end. So the sprinter and the long distance runner. Well, that leaves one last character, and that is the technician. Now, the technician is, in my experience, most common. And it might be because of my age or the generation I grew up in. But we began thinking about, in my generation, about what's called a knowledge worker, where you begin to study a subject and know it so thoroughly that you make yourself valuable. People can come to you. And when they do that, they are able to, you are able to become an expert and sell your time in exchange for money. And so a knowledge worker or a technician becomes a perfectionist. Now, the perfectionist is the one who understands how to really complete the item or design the item or accomplish the report or finish the invention. This person is the perfectionist who is who the entrepreneur relies upon. It's the person that the manager relies upon. The advantage or the creative expression of the perfectionist is that they are, excuse me, I'm busy. They are inventors. They are designers. They are problem solvers. Oh, I got on the wrong line. They are performers. They are achievers. They are the ones who create this idea and take it from the entrepreneur, observe or get instruction from the manager, and craft the expert or excellent thing. So the perfectionist or the technician has their disadvantage and their advantage. The creativity and the advantage is that they can make stuff expertly. They are experts. But their disadvantage is that they are perfectionists. They worry so much about the perfect service or the perfect design. They fashion and shave and change and refine to the point that they don't accomplish productivity. So this brings us to the last point that I want to bring up today. That for Michael Gerber, his point was that of the three legs, most of us major on one and maybe have a secondary strength in two, but rarely does a business owner have all three. When you have one or two and you do not have a third leg, you have that instability. And in a small business, what that instability looks like is the inability or the likelihood that these two personalities will fight one another. For example, an entrepreneur will resist and fight a manager because the manager wants to get stuff done. And the entrepreneur is bored of talking about it. They want to think about something new. Or maybe the manager and the perfectionist, maybe they argue. And the reason they will struggle if there's only two is because the perfectionist will refine and refine until they finally get this thing finished and to a level that they think is perfect. While the manager is frustrated because he wants to get stuff done. So these two are in conflict when there's only two of the three legs. And last example, the entrepreneur and the technician. The technician, I said, is perfecting something, and when he brings this perfection back to the entrepreneur has forgotten that that was even a question. They have moved on and are bored with the old one and now want to do something new. So here you have this ironic contest of personalities when the legs of the stool are only two instead of three. Of course, if the legs of the stool are only one, which is where most people are when they begin a business, they only have one strength, not understanding that a business best succeeds as a holistic idea, that this idea best works with all three legs. But we don't have those skill sets, perhaps, so we launch into a business and we do it at risk and sometimes to our peril, which is why the book is named E-Myth. It's a mythology that we are all entrepreneurial. I think these are skills. I agree with Michael Gerber. These are skills to be developed, and one of the skills we can build on is how to understand all three legs of the stool and figure out what we need to do as business people, as people with ambition and desire to create an economic engine. We need to understand that we have more to do than just be the perfectionist expert or be the person who is creatively minded and leading and waving their arms and dragging people into awesome ideas and then forgetting about it. Or finally, to be the complete consummate manager, but you really don't have the skill set or interest in designing and perfecting the idea, or becoming the leader and vision caster of the entrepreneur. We need all three. And I think Michael Gerber got it right. It's a terrific book. I highly recommend it. And until the next time we talk, God bless your prosperous soul. Cut. Boy, that was a challenge. I'm going to go out and get my help here at this room, this beautiful little hotel room I'm going to have them come back in and work on my room. But until then, next time, God bless you guys. You take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Stephen K. De Silva, and you're probably wondering, why have I never heard this information before? Well, now you can by going up into this corner and subscribing to this channel. Or you can go to this corner and watch the next video. There is tons of information I'm giving you. Go check it out and go deeper. Or better yet, go to the link below and go check out my website. I've got some free stuff on there. Go get that and go see lots of resources so you can finally master your money. Hey, I gotta go record another video. I'll see you soon. Bye.